My name is Corina Coronado. I lead youth and family ministry with my husband Cesar Coronado, and this is
Tabby Mascobetto, and I'm excited. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm just excited to share with you guys. So, yeah.
Yes, we are excited. We are going to be talking about chapters 9 and 10 of Esther. But before we get into that, we're going to explain this little treat bowl or plate of treats that we have here. These are treats that are specific to a festival that comes out of the book of Esther that we'll get to talk about later. It's called Purim, but we just wanted to explain what these treats are here for. We're doing a type of video that is called a mukbang. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be eating these treats while we're talking about Esther chapters 9 and 10. So we just wanted to fill you in on that a little bit. But so while I cut these up, Tabby, do you want to give context to chapters 9 and 10?
Sure. So at this point in the story, Haman already sent out a decree to decide the day of the destruction of the Jews, so we're not really in a good spot. But Esther goes to the king, and they're able to send out a new decree saying that the Jews are able to defend themselves in any way possible against their enemies. So they do win, which is super exciting. Spoiler, if you haven't read it, you should get on that. But Purim is basically a celebration of their victory against their enemies and the way that they were able to be saved by God. So yeah, it's an exciting holiday.
Yes, and exciting for us because we get to eat these treats. One thing that is specific about Purim and the way that people celebrate it is that we found online that they tend to eat triangular treats. So these treats were triangular. We looked up how to say the word, what these are called. It's hamantashen. But when we went to the store to pick these up, they called the phrasing or the way that they said it was a little bit different. So we're a little bit unsure of how exactly to say it. But that is what online said. So that's what we're going with. Is hamantashen, and basically they're little shortbread treats with yummy fillings inside. So we're gonna try some of those, and again we're gonna be talking about what we got from chapters 9 and 10, and honestly just what we got from Esther, the book of Esther overall. So what we have here is I think this one's the raspberry filling. This is apricot. I think this is the seed one.
Yeah, poppy seed.
Poppy seed and prune. And this is just straight up chocolate. So we're pretty excited about that one. Yeah. But yeah. So I'm gonna try the poppy seed first, which is good. We got to try these a little bit beforehand, so we know that they're good. Yeah. Sorry, spoiler alert. But the one thing we didn't try is the chocolate one. They didn't have that last time we went, so that's exciting. But anyways, for me, some things that I got from chapter 9 and 10 and essentially just the book of Esther is how in times where I feel like things look bleak, God is there. And he is able to turn my darkness into light. We see that so much in the book of Esther, how the people were, about to die. And God gives them a way to defend themselves, a way of redemption. And I feel like that's so much just who God's character is. And I think for me, in my walk with God, that's something that when the trials hit, it's hard to remember. Just recently for me, there's someone in my life that I love really dearly who hasn't been doing super well spiritually, and that can just bring up a lot of fears for me and about their, walk with God, and that can make me want to take control and put things into my own hands, and I can quickly go to what can I do when I think what I was praying about this morning and just learning so much from Esther and Mordecai is just their trust in God and them putting their hope in him. And God was able to turn that darkness or that bleak moment into light. And so in this time for me where things may seem bleak for my friend, or maybe you feel like things are feeling bleak for you spiritually, or someone around you feel like they're not doing well spiritually, I think what was helpful for me to remember is just that God never gives up on us. And there were so many times in Esther where, I'm sure maybe they wondered, where is God in this? But God was there, and he was able to give them a celebration and a victory. And so that's what Purim is all about. And again, we'll get to explain a little bit more of what Purim is later, but Tabby's going to share now about what she got.
Yeah, so mine is pretty similar to yours, Corina. I think a lot of times it can feel like God is just not there, and we're just facing a lot of things on our own. And I don't know, for me, sometimes it feels like life is really random, like these things that happen, okay, this is hard, and what is the purpose in this? Like, what can I find in this? And even in Esther, they don't mention God at all throughout the book, so we're kind of forced to just look for him throughout the story, and just see the ways that he is orchestrating in the lives of Esther and Mordecai and just all the Jewish people. And I think just even for me, like when I feel like God is not there, it's kind of like, it's just helpful to remember that he's always working behind the scenes. He never just leaves us to fend for ourselves. He has a purpose in everything, even when it really doesn't feel like it. He definitely has a purpose in our suffering, and he's always going to bring us that victory in the end, no matter when the victory doesn't seem like an obvious victory, but there's always growth, and that comes through our suffering. And God is just orchestrating everything in our lives, which is just so, it makes you feel less alone, right?
Yes.
And so that's just super awesome. And then I also just think about the holiday itself, Purim, and just where that comes from. The name Pur comes from casting lots. So the day that they decided on the Jews' destruction, basically, they're able to take that seemingly tragic event and make it something to celebrate. So even those hardships, those things that we don't feel like are worth celebrating, God really turns them around, and we can see the goodness in it. So yeah, that's kind of what I got from Esther, and just like I'm excited to celebrate Purim now.
Yeah, with our treats, woo woo. Yeah, so there are many different ways to celebrate Purim. I know that our church as a whole has been doing some service opportunities. Esther is a huge example of that. She served with her whole life, basically. She offered her life up, and God provided. But yeah, so they celebrate with treats and food, and they do parades and things. And Tabby learned something about Purim that is really cute that the kids do.
They dress up in little costumes. It's kind of like their Halloween, which is really cute. And then in the Bema, they were talking about how God is in costume throughout the whole story. So it's like this really cool, like
so
deep
cool. Yeah, like a parallel there. Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah, and so we want to encourage you guys to do whatever you can to celebrate Purim, whether it's through service, whether it's through eating treats like Montishen. One thing that we learned is that, just triangular treats in general are something that is eaten a lot during Purim. There's another one that's called Kriplak. That looked really good, that we didn't get to try, but looked really good. Yeah. But you could try with your own triangular food. That could be pizza, that could be, whatever you want. But yeah, we just encourage you guys to celebrate and just remember how much God is able to do in our lives. Yeah. He can turn our darkness into light, and what moments seem bleak, he can turn into victory and into celebration. So we're happy that we got to share with you guys, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye, guys.
Love you.